Hey there, you're watching Dirt Bike Channel. I'm your host Kyle Brotherson, and today we're talking skid plates. The skid plate I want to talk about today is this Axp skid plate. This is on a KTM 250XC. This is a 2017 model, and I am a big proponent of putting skid plates on the bikes. I wish that they came stock with them, but most of them don't, and so have to get an aftermarket skid plate. And right now, this is the best skid plate that I know of on the market. There could be some other better ones out there, but I don't know of any. I got this skid plate from Slavens Racing. Those guys were kind enough to have one in stock when I needed it, and I put this on the bike. Some key features of this thing are it's got some side protection here for the side of your engine case on both sides, and most importantly for me, it's got like a little dovetail part or a little extension here that covers the linkage on my bike. That way I can go up onto logs and roots and rocks, and it just kind of makes a one even surface to slide down over the linkage. That's one of the problems with these XC bikes and a lot of the bikes out there that have linkage is you've got your linkage hanging down, and it's always kind of like, how do you protect that? So this Axp skid plate does that for me, and that's the main reason I have it, is because I need to protect here against that linkage. So when you first get the Axp skid plate, it comes completely unassembled. So when you look at it, and I'll roll in some of the footage, you have a bunch of parts just kind of strewn out everywhere. You got a bunch of bolts, and you got a bunch of nuts. You've got to install the mounting bracket onto the skid plate. Those are those plastic pieces. And you also have to install the mounting bracket onto the frame of the dirt bike. This isn't hard to do, and actually everything fits pretty easily together. Especially up here on the frame of the bike, you kind of put the one of two mounting brackets up here in between the frame, and that just bolts in very easily. And then you've got a second mounting bracket down here for extra stability. So by what you're going to have, you're going to have 3 different bolts on the front of your bike. Now, you don't have to install it with all 3 bolts. I chose to do that just because I want this sucker to be as stiff and rigid as possible. I know Sam has been running this skid plate on one of his bikes last year, and he ran it only with the 1 bolt, and he never had any problems with it coming off. So I haven't used this skid plate yet, but I know it's going to work very well because I can see the build quality is second to none. And Sam ran it all last year on his bike and had no problems with it. So as far as installation goes, these are a little bit trickier to install than your typical just run-of-the-mill skid plate. A lot of the skid plates that I've had for other KTMs have just been bolt-on, and they're easy to do. That works on the skid plates that are a PDS. I mean the bikes that are a PDS style, because they just bolt on real easy. Because of this extra part here for the linkage, this is a little bit harder to install because you've got to get this section down here to bend, and because it's going to apply pressure, and it's going to be hard for you to slide the hanging brackets here on the back. It's going to be hard for you to slide that up and get it to snap onto the back of the frame right here, unless you kind of manhandle that skid plate when you first get it and kind of bend that the end of that. I put it down on the ground, and I just sort of bent it and gave myself a little bit more play. What I'm really doing is putting a little bit more of a bend right here in this part of the skid plate, just bending that so that it kind of loosens it up, because you're trying to force it up over the mounting brackets here in the back. I Loctited all that stuff. So another thing you could do is you could leave those bolts on the bottom on that mounting bracket not tight, and so you'd have a little bit more play there, but I wanted to Loctite everything, and so I Loctited all of my bolts on the mounting brackets here on that, and then stuck it on the bike. So either way you do it, whether you leave those bolts on the bottom loose to be able to snap it up on the frame and then tighten them, or if you tighten them all the way down with Loctite or something, either way you can do it. It shouldn't be too difficult to install this skid plate, but don't be surprised if it's a little bit frustrating for you to get it on at first. I do like, though, how sturdy it is attached to the bike because of these two different mounting points on the front, and then the hanging brackets here on the back that hang on the claw on the back of your frame right there. So I think the skid plate is going to be a very, very good skid plate and offer me a ton of protection. Just a little note about the side over here. On the other side, this covers up my auxiliary power valve. With the auxiliary spring, covers up the power valve and the auxiliary spring. I don't like that, and so I actually just hacksawed it off so that I could get access to that stuff. They have that kind of really protecting everything. I think that's overkill, so I hacksawed that part off. I've been told that in some of the updated versions, that has been shaved down from the factory so that you don't have to hacksaw that off. So that would be a good thing to do. A good update. So if you buy one of these from Slavens Racing and it comes already hacksawed off, then you get a prize because yours was better than mine. I'd just rather be able to have access into that rather than not. So all in all, I'm very happy with this skid plate. I think it's going to last for a very long time. Again, I think it's probably the best skid plate right now that I've seen out on the market that gives you that type of coverage. I prefer these plastic skid plates over the heavy aluminum ones because I think that they offer the same amount of protection, and they're lighter and they're not as noisy. I don't like when the skid plate is rattling around. So these things are pretty beefy, and I think it's a very good option for you. Just on a personal note, if you guys are watching this video in between March 15th, 2018 and May 15th, 2018. This is one of the Dirt Bike Channel shirts that you can go over to my website and purchase in order to win the KTM XC-W, the 2018 KTM XC-W TPI. Also, I've got hats over there on my website, so if you buy a shirt or a hat during the promotional period, which is March 15th to May 15th, 2018, it enters you into the drawing to win the bike that's over there. It's a 2018 KTM 250 XC-W TPI. So buy a shirt, win a bike. That's pretty much how it goes. So anyway, great product here. I love it, and I'm glad that I was able to get it from Slavens Racing. And that's pretty much it, guys. Leave down in the comments what types of skid plates you guys like, and I would love to see if we can get a dialogue going about what skid plates are the best ones. So anyway, I'm gonna leave that up to you, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.